It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS. Michael, you got any cost of goods sold stories coming to mind?
I guess I have two short ones. One is just like self-reflect. Everybody's doing some self-reflection. So I don't have the story of being in the field like you guys do for a very long period of time. So I haven't actually. I could tell the last time I ever cleaned a window. That was a pretty funny one, but it's not cost of goods sold. So I have a terrible habit of starting something and initially telling an employee, a technician, our technicians, that they're going to make more money than they really will, because I forget to extract like payroll taxes and all the benefits that come along with employee. So like, I'll say,
here's what the payroll looks like to me.
Yeah. And so I do that constantly. So our first ever employee still makes about 20% more than he should, because I just didn't subtract everything. And you can't go back and be like, hey man, I made a mistake. We're going to cut your pay by 20% because I forgot about 401k and health insurance, payroll tax, and all these things. So that's one. I guess that's my story. Is I've learned through the years to not just tell people how much they're going to make until I really started thinking about all the costs associated with that thing.
I mean, I feel like that's a tricky one because I don't know if it's a less honest person, but like your morals would have and did not allow you to like go back to what actually probably should have happened, right? Like out of your own, like, hey, yeah, like I didn't carve that up right, so I got to eat it. I think many a person would have gone back and be like, well, I was talking about gross wages, right? Like, your taxes are your taxes, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much you put into a 401k is up to you, right? So I think there's a lot of paths you could have gone down to explain that away, but it would have definitely damaged the relationship with that employee for sure, right?
It's not worth it for
what of a trust thing.
1 point, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why just making that mistake over and over again. Other people could do that. Don't say how much somebody's going to make until you've actually done the math and figured out all the costs associated with the other benefits and fees that come along with having an employee. And then another one is people that listen to the show and don't have a really good understanding of their books, their numbers, and able to read a profit and loss statement. Just take a few hours or even like a couple months and learn it. Have blue skies, start doing your bookkeeping, and just get to know your numbers. And I promise people that I coach, once you learn it, you're going to look back and say, why did I do this sooner? It's not rocket science. I'm not a very smart person and I can do it. And all I had to do is spend a little time learning how to do it. And then the command you have of your business, once you learn that information, is absolutely remarkable. So now that I have that skill, one of the first calls I have with a client I have through the Conquer program is always a P&L review. We look at their P&L, clean, dirty, ugly, doesn't matter. Those that have it clean, they use Blue Skies or a different bookkeeping service. We look at it, and it's remarkable how the story your numbers tells you. I'll just name drop JC Chanowski because I know he wouldn't mind sharing the story. My first ever coaching call with JC, I was looking at his numbers and I said, oh man, your small tools and supplies is really high. I'm like, I bet your office is like super disorganized and just got stuff everywhere. Probably don't really keep up with it. He's like, yeah, it's totally spot on. And then you go to his labor is really good. I'm like, oh, you don't have any turnover. You probably have employees staying for a long time. So that's how I really wow people on the first coaching call is I tell them about their business just by looking at their books if they're clean. Yeah. And it's just like instant trust because you can literally see like your vehicle repairs and maintenance is high. Oh man, you got old vehicles. You're spending a lot of time with breakdowns. It's causing a friction with your technicians not being able to have a vehicle to work in. And it's like by the end of the call, they're like, how can you help me? Like, how can we do this? Yeah. So that's my cost of goods sold story is that when you know how to read them, the whole narrative of your business is told by your books, but specifically in the cost of goods sold, because that's 40 to 50% of your sales right there.
And it creates a common language when like things are being measured the same way and you can talk about them the same way. Then when you're talking to another business owner and they're explaining a problem that they have or something that worked well, like you have the tools to have that discussion, right? And and every discussion we have about our business at some point is a financial one. Even if we're talking about how we cut the grass and how we spray the water and how we put the rocks together, it only matters because at the end of the day, we're really having that discussion based on what's most profitable.
Absolutely.
Right?
It tells that story too. It allows you to know how profitable you're going to be. It's a leading metric. And so every single line in your profit and loss statement, or we're just sticking specifically with cost of goods sold here, it should be within a range. And at the end of the month, the trailing metric will tell you how you did. And if you didn't do well, something's off. One of those ranges is off. And that's where we start to identify issue spot and fix. You don't need to fix the thing that's already working really well. And a lot of small business owners focus, maniacal on that thing that they already do really good. When their blind spot is everything they don't do well. And if they really want to grow, they have to focus on the things that aren't as productive as what is working really well. So that's my.
Like you said, so important to have. I mean, we'll just keep plugging you away, Dan, but like you pay for yourself exponentially, like, right?
Have to.
Having Dan do your books, because you can't read the story. You can't read your own story if you don't have clean books. And so once you do, whether you have a coach or working with someone or figure out how to read your own story, like you can definitely save the money of bookkeeping exponentially. I mean, the ROI on having clean books and being able to, just like you said, Michael, like get the story that your books are telling you. And so it's amazing how many people don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good at quick.
No, you can adjust so much. Like COGS is where it's at. Like you can, change the story and change your profit, but you can't if you don't know what to change.
Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.